Welcome to the Tampa Native Show. Stay tuned now for the most entertaining 60 minutes from the studios at TBCN, Tampa Bay Community Network. Join your hosts, Mario Nunez and Steve Canella, as they celebrate growing up in Tampa. From Shakey's to Shock Armstrong, Braddock Street, and Buffalo Avenue, get ready to call in and tell us your stories, because sharing your memories has never been this much fun. The Tampa Native Show is brought to you by the Columbia Restaurant. And now, here's your hosts, Mario Nunez and Steve Canella.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome back to this, the seventh week, the seventh edition of the Tampa Native Show. I can't believe it's going that fast. I'm Mario Nunez alongside my co-host,
Steve Canella, and thanks for tuning in. And tonight's topic is just going to be phenomenal, and my co-host will be talking about that in a little bit. But what we do each week, Mario and I, when we pick a topic, we choose a topic that we hope that will jog your memory and also put a smile on your face. And your phone calls do the same for us as well. So in just a few minutes, our producer, Jeff Haynes, he'll be putting the number on the bottom of your screen, the call-in number, along with the email address to email us. In fact, as we speak, we're online now, so send us your emails. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Mario, go ahead.
I think it's going to be great fun. We've been preparing for this all week. We'd like to say welcome back to those viewers that are always with us each and every week. And we'd also like to say a great big hello and welcome to those that are just joining us for the first time. You know, we've been on the air for the last 7 weeks. It's been a wonderful ride. Last week, we had the first opportunity to have an in-show guest, and Mr. Richard Gunsmart, fourth-generation owner of the Columbia Restaurant, was our in-studio guest, and that show was pretty tremendous. But we'd just like to let everybody know that we've been working on some things. We're going to inject a little bit of levity and a little bit of humor tonight, at least we think so, to the show, and we think you're going to enjoy it as well. We usually take the time at the beginning of the show, if you're not familiar with the format, to go over last week's emails. Typically what happens is we get emails during the show. Sometimes we get them after the show, and then we want to acknowledge those people that took the time to write in. And why don't we do that now, Steve?
Let's do that. That's perfect. That's
very good. Very good. Let me put on my glasses because
same here.
It's muy importante. The first email comes to us from Ricardo De Forest. And I got to tell you something, Ricardo, if you're out there watching, this was a lot of fun for me to read. He says, one Friday night when I was a young man, I had gone to a neighborhood family party in West Tampa. An elderly couple sat in front of the television as the late night commercial came on for Valencia Gardens. Andy Hardy sat with Manuel Barrow describing the food laid out before the two men. Andy's pronunciation of the flan de leche was bad beyond recognition. The elderly man, hard of hearing and with poor eyesight, squinted, leaned forward, and in Spanish asked the elderly woman, ¿Qué es eso? Parece flan. The elderly lady replied, Sí, parece flan, pero él dice que no. Él dice que es otra cosa. No sé. The room erupted in laughter. Till this day, the story is recounted at West Tampa parties. I mean, really, how bad can you butcher flan de leche? Thank you for that, Ricardo.
That's too funny, Mario. We got another email from one of our loyal viewers, and this is Rick Parnell, who watches from Brazil. And Rick, thanks for watching again. He writes, you guys have a great show. The feed and the net is sporadic down here in South America, so I thought I'd send you a quick recollection of just going over the Shakey's Pizza on Florida Avenue.
Shakey's Pizza on Florida Avenue.
Can you believe that? And that brings back some memories for me, Mario.
Shakey's Pizza.
And a lot of my former Hillsborough High School colleagues, too. But anyway, he continues, also listening to that elderly guy playing the ragtime piano, this is at Shakey's, with a hat of the era and a red and white strap vest. After the Terriers smoked the competition, we would all go out and hang out there. So keep up the good work. Rick Parnell. Thanks, Rick.
Look at that Shakey's Pizza.
Oh, there we
sign.
are.
Does that bring back memories or what?
Oh, that does.
And this is like the third or fourth reference to Naki Parker already. Naki was the gentleman of whom he's speaking, who played the piano in that red and white vest. So Naki, if you're not out there watching our show, I don't know what's going on. You should be.
Some good times back then, Mario.
Absolutely. The next email comes to us and it says, good evening, gentlemen. This is the first time I viewed your show and want to say thank you. Nice to go back and have memories. It was also great to hear from callers I am familiar with. My sister's father-in-law, now deceased, worked there as well many, many years. He was Francisco P. Juan. Mario, hello and congrats on your program. Your friend, Brenda Martinez Ortelli. Thank you, Brenda, for writing in, and thank you, Paul, for finding us last week. Steve?
Thanks, Mario. This email's from Gail Baxley Buell, and she writes, Robinson High School held dances in the cafeteria after home games in the 1960s. There was always a live band, the place was totally packed, and everybody danced. What a wonderful time that was. Gail, thanks for the email. Great.
Connie Rose writes real quickly, she says, those were great times after football games, pep rallies in the halls of Jefferson and Leto. Thanks, Connie.
Cece Schatz, she writes, gosh, I remember we lived for Friday nights, the football games, the people, the gathering with fellow classmates. High school was a very exciting and fulfilling time in my life. And I agree, Cece. Thanks for the email.
Yeah, I second that.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Well. We get these next 3 emails from, one is from Tanya Russo. Tanya writes, Cubanito, thank you, Mario, because she calls me Cubanito. Thank you, Mario, for a wonderful show this week, referencing last week's show, which was, again, an amazing show with Richard Gunsmart, the Columbia Restaurant. Thank you, Mario, for a wonderful show this week. Here's my number for the drawing next week. That's number 23. Thank you, Tanya Russo.
Mario, Richard was fantastic last week, too. He connected so well with the audience, and he would just...
No, we had great pictures, too, Stevie. Oh. We had great pictures. I know Jeff's going to put that picture up there of the Columbia Restaurant here in just a couple of moments. There it is. Look at that picture.
Oh, look at that. Perfect.
1906. Look at that bar. It's still there today. It's just an amazing, amazing photograph.
Amazing piece of history. Whew. We've got a couple more emails. This was from Olga Kopin. She writes, born and raised in South Tampa and never left. Love your show, guys. Robinson High School in 1975, and her lucky number is 29. Thanks, Olga.
Thank you, Olga. Our last email is, your show gets better every week, and last week's show was awesome. Keep up the good work. My lucky number is 70, and that's from Carmen Nunez. And Carmen, thank you for sending in your email. Well, Stevie, before we get to the topic of the week, the topic du jour, let's talk a little bit about something pretty exciting that you and I did this weekend.
Oh, Mario, that was phenomenal. Basically, we went to an event in Ybor City, and it was actually a one-man show created by Richard and Mary Ellen Di Pietra. And what was the name of the show, Mario?
The name of the show is I Am a Cuban Sandwich.
And totally, it was basically, as they described, Richard and Mary Ellen, a sentimental journey through Tampa. It was like going through time. And it was a depiction of Richard's life growing up in Tampa, in Ybor City, and having the son of a Sicilian father and a Cuban mother. So that's a pretty high energy combination. Would you say, Mario?
Sicilian father, Cuban mother?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's a lot of passion right there. Somebody's hiding the knives because when those two get together and have a little fight or something, you know. But what a tremendous show.
It was great. It
was an hour-long show. Let's put this in perspective. It was an hour-long show. Mary Ellen changed the graphics. The stage director worked the lighting, and Richard was out there by himself for an hour, and it went by so fast. He has wonderful storytelling capabilities, and his manner on stage, it just seemed like it went by, it seemed like it was a half an hour, really and truthfully. And we got the invitation again from Tanya Russo. Thanks for the heads up on that, Tanya. That was a great show, and you know, highly recommended.
Oh, that's phenomenal. By the way, what is this, Mario?
Hey, Steve, good thing you pointed that out. Listen, our set design lady, she thought maybe it might be good to kind of get everybody ready for the Halloween event. And what you see there is, that's our own little version of a horny little devil.
Mario, I get the point, I guess.
Say again?
I think I get the point.
Oh, Steve, don't go there. All right, Stevie. What do you say we ease into this week's show? We've been working on this all week, ladies and gentlemen, and I tell you what, we solicited for your photographs, and thank you for those of you that send in the photographs. And when we make those all calls, just bear in mind that we really do want to get your photographs. And if you don't know how to do that, find the 7-year-old in your neighborhood that you can entertain in your house for a few minutes, because they'll show you exactly how to put those pictures online. And send them to us. We always give you Jeff Haynes, that's our producer. We always give you his email address so you can send them right to him. Our phone lines are already blinking. We're going to get right to it. Callers, we see you there. Stand by. We're going to get to you in just a couple of minutes.
But please hold on.
All right, Stevie. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's tell them what this week's topic is going to be.
Mario, this week's topic is Friday night football games. High school football games. Not only football game itself, but also what you did either before or after the football games. But that's our topic for tonight. Exciting topic, actually. And in fact, it's showing already on the phone lines.
Well, yeah, and we knew this was going to happen. Listen,
I knew it.
We're going to talk. We're going to talk a little bit about everything from rivalries to things like Night of Nights at Robinson, Pantherilla at Plant, Dragon's Fire at Jefferson. We got, remember, bonfires and beat tags?
Oh, yeah.
Beat tags?
Oh, yeah.
How about Spirit Week and pep rallies, homecoming games and dances, and, of course, the coronations, and, of course, those infamous road trips. So get your memories ready to go. Stevie and I are going to give you ours, and then we're going to fire this thing up. Stevie, you know you always go first. I'll let you throw the first one out there. So
I'm first again?
Yeah, you gotta be, son.
Okay,
Go,
all right.
Stevie, go.
Well, I loved high school football games. I mean, Friday night football games were just great memories, you know. And,
Absolutely.
And basically what I loved the excitement of it all. I loved the rivals, the team rivals, the high school rivals, and the marching bands, all that music was just phenomenal. And of course, the cheerleaders.
Man.
That added to it as well. And not necessarily in that order that I just described, but it was order of importance. But anyway, now I know I can't remember all the details, but because it's been at least 15, 20 years since
there he goes with those air quotes again.
Since I graduated from high school.
Attaboy.
And I said at least
air quotes.
at least 20 years from high school. Could be more. But basically, Mark, you know what I like to do the most on high school nights?
Tell me.
Friday night football. Basically, the games were fun. I love the games, of course, but it was what we did after the game that was just phenomenal. Of course, I was at Hillsborough High School, and a lot of my classmates from Hillsborough High School who are watching now, you're going to recollect this as well. But basically, Shakey's Pizza.
Shakey's again.
Yeah, it was our hangout after the football games, and we spent a lot of good times there, having the pizza, listening to the guy playing the piano, Naki Parker. But also, there's more.
Excuse me?
There's more.
Okay.
You know what I did after the game? And not just me.
I'm afraid to ask.
And when I say I mean we all did.
I'm afraid to ask.
Well, this was the Shakey's Pizza on Florida Avenue near Waters.
Right by the bridge there.
Right by the bridge, yeah, over the hump, where your stomach kind of feels funny when you drive over kind of fast. But basically, River Shore Drive was the street that connects Florida Avenue almost to Laurie Park. And along that street was the river, Hillsborough River, and that was one of the biggest makeout spots in Tampa.
Steve.
I mean, not the biggest, but one of the biggest.
Steve Marino.
So it was Friday night football, Shakey's, makeout spot.
Tampa Steve.
Tampa Steve.
Oh, my word.
But,
Boys, I didn't know you were going to go there, son. I
but,
wasn't prepared for that, to be quite honest with you. But hey,
Well, I wanted to shock you.
we've all got stories to tell, and that's part of this. That's part of this. Let me tell you my story real quick, and I'll try to make it brief. It's a little different tenor than Steve's, this one goes back to circa 1966. I was in the 3rd grade at Grady Elementary School, Miss Chervella's class. Not that that's important to this story, but just to give you some perspective. I'm a wee little guy. I'm 8 years old, fixing to be 8 years old, and I go to a Plant High School football game. And you know, of course, when you're 8 years old, these seniors in high school, they're all full-grown men. Well, my brother and my parents knew what was coming because they kind of set this up for me. After the game, after the Plant High School game, I wish I could remember who they were playing that day. The star quarterback of the team, Pete Alfieri, is walking off the field, arm in arm with his girlfriend, Chris Smith. And I'm walking maybe 15 paces behind him. And I'm waiting for my cue, and I'm waiting for my cue. And he's conspicuously hanging his helmet off of his right side. And as soon as I hear from my brother, he says, "Hey, Mario, go now." I ran with all my might, and I got up close to him, and I grabbed a hold of his chin strap. And it took me a couple of good yanks, but I yanked it off of his helmet, and then I just kept running. And of course, Pete playing along, he yells at me, hey, where you going, kid? Come back with that. And I didn't stop for the next 30 yards, and then I finally looked back at him, and he was smiling. And I tell you what, that was one of the most incredible memories for an 8-year-old kid, you know, at that time. And I kept that chin strap forever. I kept that chin strap. This was Pete's chin strap, and then a little bit later on, when I got my own football uniforms, I would use it, and I think it eventually got so gross and sweaty that I ended up throwing it out. But Pete, boy, I tell you what, he was our hero back then, and what an athlete and a good guy. Came over to our house often, and that's my story.
That's a great story, Mario.
Isn't that good? I got a little verklempt talk just talking about it. Because, you know, it took me back to that moment. And if you remember, Dad's Stadium back then was cozy, just like it is now. And if you walk behind the players on the Plant side, you could literally poke your finger through the fence and touch the players' jersey, their backs, because they were sitting. The bench was right on the fence.
You know, Mario, when you were telling that story, I just noticed. I could see the memories in the passion in your voice, and we get the same thing too when you call in. So definitely call in, and Jeff will be putting that number on the screen pretty soon for you. But the number is 813-254-7820. Also the email. But we love hearing your stories too, and we can hear the passion in your voice as well.
Callers, are you ready? Are you out there? We're ready for you now. So let's light up the phones. There's that number. We also encourage you to mute your TV when you do call and just talk to us on your phone, because if you're watching the response on the TV, it kind of throws you off.
All right, why don't you take the first call?
I will. Thank you, Steve.
Okay.
Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name, where you're calling from, and what high school you went to.
Hey, Bowie, how you doing, guys? I went to Plant High School, graduated in 1986, and this was before, way before ninth grade was at Plant.
Okay.
And I had the honor and the privilege of being asked by the legendary Roland Acosta to be his water boy. And I kept going after, you know, I fell in love with the guy like Edwin did. And after I kept going back after for about close to 20 years to be on staff. But Friday nights, you're right, that was something special, especially a plant. And back then, I don't know if how many schools still do it today, but the football team, the managers, everyone, we had to wear ties.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In the early days, we have some photographs of just that. And the coaches themselves on the sideline wore ties, like in the 60s and even by the 70s, they had polo shirts. But in those early days, and Plant's always been a real stickler for tradition. So, caller, we didn't get your name. I'm sorry.
I'm David Benito. This is David Benito calling.
Oh, hi, David.
Oh, hi, David.
Thanks for calling us.
Yes, it was, but we, the players, all the players and the managers, and we wore ties to school during the day. And God forbid you should forget your tie and had to go to the Roland Acosta collection.
Oh, wow. Good call. Good call.
I was 6 feet wide.
With a big knot?
Not that great. And 26 years ago this month, I was on the sidelines at the old Tampa Stadium with the Plant team. I was a sophomore to witness Coach Acosta get his 100th career victory.
Oh, that's cool.
Robinson.
That is very cool, David.
And
Very cool.
And it's continue to support Plant High football to this day, and what the new regime has done there is unbelievable. There's something special about Plant High football. I think that like Robinson and Jefferson and Hillsborough, but there's something really special about Plant football.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the fact that they've been here for as long as they have. Hillsborough included, Hillsborough, and then Jefferson when it was still close to Ybor City, there off Columbus Drive. Oh yeah, we appreciate you calling. Thank you so much for sharing your memory with us.
That was great.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thanks,
Call
guys.
back anytime. Thank you.
Good call. Yeah, the big three: Plant, Hillsborough, Jefferson.
Ready?
Ready. Caller, you're on the air. Tell us where you're calling from and what high school did you go to?
Robinson.
Robinson.
And your name?
And name?
My name's Mike.
Mike.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Tell us a little something about Robinson that we don't know.
Oh, jeez. I'll tell you a lot that you don't want to know.
What year did you graduate, Mike?
67.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I spent most of my Friday nights trying to please Tom Mann, the coach there, on the field.
Yeah.
But I have kind of a different twist on a football story for you.
Good.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
As you well know, it's Mike McCall, by the way.
Mike McCall.
okay.
Hi, Mike. Thank you. I'm glad you said
Yeah,
that.
thanks.
Thanks, Mike
Get ready
McCall.
to ask you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyway, when I was a sophomore at Robinson, I was on the varsity team, and I had a letter jacket, and I was going with a cheerleader at Plant. Of course, Robinson and Plant used to be big-time rivals.
Mortal rivals, absolutely.
Yes, back when Robinson was a different kind of school. And one chilly evening, we'll call her Nancy.
Okay, Nancy.
She was cheering at a Plant game, and it was a little cool. So she put on my Robinson letter jacket.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
that's blaspheming right there. That's beyond fighting words. I don't know what you call that.
Well, she sure heard about it the following Monday morning in the Dean of Girls.
I'm sure.
Oh my, the Dean of Girls' office. So it went that high, did it?
Wow.
Well, I'm sure it didn't go over real big, and
Right.
but she didn't think much of it, But she was wearing my Robinson letter jacket, cheering at a Plant
High
High
school
game.
game.
Somebody, I forgot who it was.
Well, those two
dangerous.
schools, of course, we talked about the rivalries here, and we've got them here as Plant Robinson, Jefferson Lato, Hillsborough Chamberlain, TC Jesuit, the two parochial schools, Blake and Middleton when they were just the black schools, King, we figured Tampa Bay Tech because that's Temple Terrace, Brandon and Plant City and East Bay because that was all East Hillsborough County, and then Tampa Prep later and Berkeley Prep, the two private schools. But you're right though, Mike, to your point. That was when you had the bonfire at Plant, and Robinson had some. That was the biggest game of the year.
I recall going to play a school called Brandon. I've never
Where was
heard
that
of it.
anyway? It was Brandon. It was.
And we were on the bus going out there, and we saw the lights out in the distance, and I thought, what in the world is, there's nothing out there but palmetto fields and cow pastures.
Uh-huh.
And it's the first time that we played Brandon. And it was nothing out there. A bunch of cowboys.
Yeah, well, sidebar story to that. I can remember we talked about this earlier in the season. You left the city lights on Adamo Drive, downtown Tampa, and things got real dark until you traveled for what seemed like forever. And then off in the distance, Mike, see if you remember this, there was that conspicuous orange glow that you couldn't quite figure out what it was until you got close enough, and then you realized that was the roof to the Whataburger. That was the only thing illuminating civilization out that way. And look at it today. You don't even know where Tampa ends and Brandon begins. But
I know it.
Brandon always had pretty good football teams because they drew from a bigger area. So, you know, those boys out that way, they played pretty good.
Well, now you've got a lot of diversity out there in different areas of school. It's just changed so much.
Oh, yeah.
You know, back in Fort Robinson's a relatively new school based on Hillsborough and, you know, Plant and some of the older schools, the old schools. But,
Absolutely. Michael, we got another call waiting. We're going to try to get to them real quick.
Okay,
But hey,
well, you guys are doing a fine job. And by the way, how's your leg?
oh, it's still a little sore, partner. It's still a little sore, Michael. I'll tell
Tom
the
Recluse?
Yeah, I'll tell the viewers. I had a little run-in with. I believe it's a brown recluse, although I don't know exactly because I didn't see him. But yeah, I got a little ouchie on my leg, and it's really bothering me. But Michael, I'm on the mend. I'm running my meds, and I'm keeping it real clean.
Yeah, you got to watch those little guys. They pack a wallop.
They
do.
do.
They're
And
dangerous.
All right, you guys keep up the fine work, and
Thanks.
good talking with you.
Michael,
Thanks,
you're a good
Mike.
guy. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Okay, bye.
That was nice.
That was great. Mario, before we get that call, we got a note from Charlotte Palmer.
Caller, we see you there. Stand by.
Yeah, stand by 1 second, please. It's regarding Shakey's Pizza.
Okay.
She writes, regretfully, Naki Parker, the piano player from Shakey's, died several years ago. He was a great teacher with all the movies and the great piano playing. He also used to sing barbershop. My neighbor used to sing with him, and he also would tell the same type of vaudeville jokes. So
He was an old world
Yeah,
comedian,
pretty much.
entertainer guy.
Oh,
'Cause
yes.
he wore the straw hat, you know, and I guess he sang with a barbershop quartet. That's what she was referring to.
he was an original.
Yeah,
Oh,
he was.
Charlotte,
Well,
thanks so much for the email.
Thank
Great.
you, Charlotte Naki, R.I.P. Steve, take this one.
Oops. We lost you. Call back in.
Call right back. We've got two lines open, so now would be a great time to call. I know sometimes we get a little long-winded, but when we hear these stories, and we have a real difficult time taking people off the air. But call back. We've got two lines open right now. Steve, what else you got going on?
Well, Mario, I mean, the high school football was just phenomenal.
Yes.
It was every Friday night that we loved it, and it was during season. And in fact, you know what? There's actually another call coming through right now. Let's grab that real quick before they hang up. Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Sylvia.
Sylvia.
Hi, Sylvia.
Hi, Sylvia.
Hi,
Sylvia, also, what high school did you go to?
Plant.
Plant. All right.
Is this?
And I remember going to the football games. I was a cheerleader.
I know who this
okay.
Sylvia is. I know who Sylvia is. Tell us your last name, Sylvia.
It used to be Montiel.
This is Everett's
Oh,
sister. Go
okay,
ahead. I
okay.
know.
Yes, and I remember going to the colonnade afterwards.
There you
Oh,
go.
okay.
So did you graduate in 70?
Yes, I did.
There you go. There you go.
And it was a wonderful time, and I have a lot of great memories and a lot of great friends, and getting together for reunions, for our 40th reunion
Sure.
this year was the
yeah.
ball. But I just wanted to call in and just tell you that Friday nights was a very special night for me.
It was a big
was.
time, wasn't it?
It was.
You know, I'm a little bit after you. I'm class of 76, and Stevie's class of 78. But still, when we were going through, it still had a lot of the same draw, the same mystique. I mean, we were the younger siblings to you guys.
Yeah,
and
I remember your brother Chicky.
there you go. There you
There
go.
you go.
Absolutely. Well, we tried to uphold the traditions. I think we did you all proud. The environment changed a little bit back then because, you know, we had busing, and so it lost kind of that neighborhood feel, but we still tried to do all the homecomings, and we still tried to do it just like you guys did. But
Yeah,
great
and
times.
the bonfires, and
bonfires.
Pantarilla and everything.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Well, anyhow, I just want to tell you what a great job you're doing, and I enjoy your show very much.
Well, that's good to hear.
Thank
And
you so much.
That's phenomenal.
Call back anytime, Sil.
Thanks, Sylvia.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, what a great call,
Steve,
Mario.
look at that picture there. There's like a ghost image of you
Yeah.
in the background. That's kind of cool. What's going
I
on
like
there?
that. That is kind of neat.
Not really. Oh, there he is. All right. I was between cameras. I was like in that fourth dimension. All of a sudden, I was in here, but then I was over there. That's all right. Hey, Jeff, it doesn't matter what you did. It looked good. It was a
looked
nice
good.
effect.
I know, I like
My
that.
head looked kind of big, though. But, yeah, we've got a caller here. Let's see who's on the line. Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name, where you're calling from, and what school you went to.
Yo no fui a ningún lado.
Okay. All right. So you did.
Yo era vecina de Mario Núñez.
Oh, ¿Y tu nombre, señora?
Mi nombre es Xiomara Hen.
Xiomara Hang. Xiomara Hang.
Yo soy tampeña.
Okay, Xiomara. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, Xiomara. Thank you for calling.
Entiendo mucho.
sweetie.
Bye, sweetie. Thank you. Thank you. For those who are watching at home, wondering what that was all about, that's a dear lady who lives currently next door to my parents. And we've known her for, let's see, but she moved in '76, the year that I graduated high school, also 30-some years ago. Anyway, that was Xiomara Hang, dear neighbor to my parents. So
Oh, that's
that was
great.
kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that. That was a
She
great
didn't have a
call.
high school
Yeah.
memory because obviously she didn't go to high school here. She just wanted to call in and say, hey, I'm
Say-
watching your show and I see you and I'm going to tell you a little story.
And that's fine, and we want to hear it from everyone. And Mario, quick question.
Yes.
Okay, your high school football games, where did you go after for dinner? Like we went to Shakey's, some schools went to Colonnade.
I remember going to Angie's Pizza, man. I don't know why
Okay.
that is. We talked about that like in week 2 when we talked about restaurants. And I remember going to Angie's on Hillsborough. You know, at our sophomore year, some of us had cars, some of us didn't. So we palled around typically with people who did have cars. And then we found our way there and we found our way home. But again, remember, this is back in the middle 70s when Tampa wasn't too big.
Right,
I mean, there weren't
right.
that many high schools. You had, the handful of originals. You had the Jefferson, the Robinson, and,
Right.
the Hillsborough. And then as the migration went northwest, Lato came into play. Brandon was always there. It was at McLean Junior High, and then it became Brandon High School in the middle 70s.
Right.
But back in this time period, it was at McLean Junior High. And somebody call and correct me if I'm wrong on any of these. Tampa Bay Tech, I believe, came in the 60s also, possibly early 70s. When things started to move out into Temple Terrace, you had King. So, I mean, but that was it. Now we've got 42 high schools in Tampa, so
Oh, yeah.
it's hard to tell the players without a program. But back then, when you made All-Western Conference or you made that special group of all-star kind of players, it really was something special. Well, look at that
Yeah,
picture right
look at
there.
this. There it is.
What's going on there? I see a McDonald's sign, but is there anything underneath that McDonald's sign, Mr. Jeff? Well, hey,
There it
there
is.
you go. That's pretty cool. That's Chamberlain High School band. Looks like it might be an ensemble. Well, easy for me to say. An ensemble band, not the entire marching band. Speaking of marching band, boy, marching band music would be nice right about now. If you have that's the little breakout band. It looks like they were doing a live performance at a McDonald's.
Even brought the piano.
That's pretty cool. It's an upright piano
Yeah.
too.
Oh, that's
How
amazing.
cool is that?
And it kind
And over 1 billion sold.
is that Kenny's shoes in the background?
Oh, no way. I can't see that with my glasses. Let me take my glasses off.
I
It's
think
Kenny's shoes
that
in
is
the
Kenny's
background.
shoes.
Somebody call in and tell us where that is. I'm looking at the cars. It looks like that's probably sometime in the early 60s.
That's a great picture.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, I'd like to also challenge all my former Hillsborough High School classmates. If you can, call in and kind of validate my story about River Shore Drive with the great makeout point.
Oh, the makeout stuff?
The makeout, yeah, the makeout, event, and also Shakey's Pizza too. Tell your stories too. So I challenge my Hillsborough people to call in, and of course, everybody call in, all schools. Please call.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We got a caller right now.
There
Stevie.
they are.
Take that one.
Hi, caller. You're on the air. Tell us your name, where you're calling from, and also what high school you went to.
Hi, my name is Jim. Mario may know me as Hoop from Jesuit.
Hey,
Oh,
Hoop.
okay.
Man, what's going on?
How you doing, man?
Wow, it's been so long, Hoop. I mean,
A
because
few years.
yeah, well, we did the Coleman thing together, and you wrote that little newspaper at the time. I thought it was so cool because you wrote that newspaper when I was playing with Convenient Food Mart, and I still have the clippings, Hoop. And then you went to Jesuit, and I guess I went to Jefferson. I should have gone to Plant, but they built the new school by my house. How you been?
I've been all right. I was trying to remember what team you played for. No problem. Convenient Food Mart. That was it.
Convenient Food Mart. It was at North Palomino. There was Dictaphone, Convenient Food Mart, Exchange Bank.
Pepsi
Thank you, Pepsi,
and
Mirabella Seafood.
seafood.
Yeah, Mirabella Seafood, and it was funny because the way we're off on a different topic, but
sorry.
But Hoop, listen, real quick, when we left Tampa Bay Little League to go to North Palomino Point League, those coaches kind of came over there too, and they kind of kept their same teams because what was JC's over at Tampa Bay Little League became Mirabella Seafood, and they had the same stacked players. It was pretty cool to watch. I mean, I played on the expansion team, and I was with Bill Gable and those guys with Convenient Food Mart. Hoop, tell us what you remember about high school football.
Yeah, my Friday night football memories were mixed because I did high school football at Jesuit freshman and sophomore year. Played clarinet in the band.
Good. This is our first band
There you
member.
go.
Thank
There you
you.
There you go. Played clarinet in the band, but then I took my newspaper career to the Tampa Tribune when I was a junior.
Nice.
September, baby, and before I could even drive, I started working for the Tribune. So my Friday nights were working
Yes.
for was it $10 or $15 a story.
I remember that, Hoop. I remember that.
Games, Jefferson games, East Bay, whatever. There's 11 schools in the Western Conference in Hillsborough County.
There you go.
And I would be assigned a story wherever it would be. And did you remember George Noble? Did you know George Noble from
Sounds familiar.
also from Jesuit? He was a year ahead of us.
That does sound real familiar as well. Did he have a byline also? Was he writing as well?
Also, right. So the two
Right.
of us were Tribune correspondents.
There you go.
And then we went on to that.
Well, that's great. You know, I look. I'll be honest with you, Hoop. I knew back then when you were doing your little newspaper story and the picture of the, with you at your typewriter, and it was kind of cool. Back then when you were doing the little neighborhood paper, I knew you were gonna following that. You started when you were like 13, 14 years old. The rest of us are out playing baseball. Hoop's in his little typewriter, man.
I
He's
couldn't
right.
play baseball. That's why I was covering it because I couldn't. The only way I got on base was to base on balls or hit by pitch.
There you go. Hey, Jimmy, it's great to talk to you, man. I'm so glad. How'd you find our show?
I found your show. Through a friend of ours from high school that you went to elementary school with.
Kiki?
Pat? No, not Kiki. I saw Kiki about a year ago, but I saw.
He's doing good.
Got reacquainted with Patty Cheddar.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Hoop, if you're on that social networking site, and you might be, look us up, man.
Oh, I've got you up, and I'll give a shout out to our friend David Agliano. Just sent me a text. Hoop on TV.
Oh,
There
wow.
you go. There you go.
Great.
David's been watching us too. I hope he calls in this evening as well. Hope,
Definitely.
it's so great to talk to you, man.
Talking to you. Guys are
Thanks.
doing a good show, brother.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you, my man.
Thanks
Call
for calling.
anytime, okay?
Wow, we got another call.
Thank you.
That's great.
That's terrific.
Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name, where you're calling from, and also what high school you went to.
Hi, my name is Karen. It was
Hi.
Karen Biggs in high school. It's Karen Job now.
Hi, Karen.
I went to Hillsborough High School.
Oh, okay.
The picture that you're showing right there is the McDonald's right on Florida Avenue by the Shakey's.
Oh, okay.
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 I didn't realize that.
But my Friday night memories, I grew up in Seminole Heights, and I grew up on Wilder Avenue, which is right down the
Right.
street from the school.
No,
So before I could go to the school, my sisters and aunts and everybody went to the school, but I would sit on the front steps and listen to the band, listen to all the hoopla of the football games, and then the music in the patio afterwards. And then, of course, when it got where I could go, it was so exciting every Friday night. And one of my girlfriend's father owned a car lot, and he would give us a convertible, and we would
Wow.
game and,
Very nice.
and have a great time and go to the dance. And then, of course, we would go to the Redwood,
Oh,
Right.
yeah, the Redwood Inn.
party at the Redwood for a little while. And it was just, like you said, it was great times. And for one of your topics, you could probably do a show just around the Plant Hillsborough Thanksgiving.
Thanks to the Turkey Day game.
Right,
Absolutely.
right,
We
exactly.
had y'all had the Panther Prowl, and we had the Terrier Bark.
Terrier Bark. Thank you
right.
so much for that. Karen, what year did you graduate?
I graduated in '63.
63. Thank you so much for that.
That's-
See, because we're trying to figure out, we're hoping that everybody else calls and lets us know what their particular school. Well, listen, we're into week 7 of a 14-week season, and our plan is, our goal is, our vision is to be on the air for one entire year without interruption, and we don't think we're going to have any shortage of topics. So that's another great topic. You could talk, like you said, a whole hour on nothing but the Plant Hillsborough rivalry.
Oh my
Turkey.
gosh, just the Turkey Day game with the chrysanthemums and the Big H and all the fun. Now I've made it a tradition watching your show with my aunt and uncle who live in
Oh.
Forest Hills. They both went to Hillsborough High School. They used to go to Failers. We mentioned Failers
That's right.
before when I
Failers,
called
that's
in.
right.
Yes,
This
sure
was there
did.
on Florida and Plymouth.
That's right.
And I asked my aunt, I said, well, did you go to dances on Friday nights? And she said, no, I was too in love with him, and he wouldn't go to dances with me. So
Oh, that's a great
I'm
story.
enjoying this.
That's-
I've made it like a little tradition. I get to spend Wednesday night with my aunt and uncle, and they're very dear to me. And I love Tampa. I love Hillsborough High School, and I love what you guys are doing.
Well,
Thank you so much.
And really, we're going to continue to do it because it's very rewarding for us as well.
Right,
Tell
right.
me your aunt's name again.
Betty Allen.
That's right. It was in
Okay,
my notes.
okay.
Thank you so much for
right.
calling, Karen, and
Great.
call anytime.
Absolutely.
Great call, Karen.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. That was a great call, wasn't
Oh,
it?
that's excellent. Caller, you're on the air. Turn down your TV. Talk to us on the phone. Tell us your name, where you're calling from, and what school you went to.
Hey, Mario, this is Everett Montiel.
There he is.
Oh.
How you doing, buddy?
Your sister just got off the phone with us a minute ago. This is the Montiel and Nunez hour. Go ahead, Everett. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I just happened to be in Orlando, in Tampa with my sister.
Oh, you're in town?
Oh, okay.
I am. That's why I'm watching you.
Oh, we gotta see you before you go back.
We have a double hitter. But let me just share a couple things with you.
Please.
I graduated from Plant in 1966.
Okay.
And of course, the big thing was Plant Hillsboro. And we used to go out to the field on coats and ties. It was always a dressed-up affair.
Of course.
And I remember guys selling flowers that were dyed gold and black and red and black for Hillsboro.
Sure.
So those are the fun things. But I think when I graduated in 1966, you talked about Pete Alfieri,
Yeah.
our quarterback.
He's a wonderful guy.
Great guy. We all knew him very well.
Sure.
But the thing I remember, we had such a great football team, but we couldn't kick extra points. We would just maul you over 35-2 or something like 30.
Right.
And I remember one of the years we were playing in a bowl. I think we were playing Miami Senior, and a real tight game. It was 7-0. We scored, but we knew we couldn't kick an extra point, so we went for a 2-point play and lost 7-6.
Oh.
Wow. So I remember that game. And the year before that, we played Hialeah
Miami.
in Miami, and you'll remember this player, Ted Hendricks.
Oh, wow. Matt Stork.
Yeah, one of the greatest players.
Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, that's
University
right.
of Miami, Oakland Raiders.
And the Baltimore Colts.
And the Colts, of course.
And try to pass over him was like trying to pass over a redwood
He
tree.
was 6'7", wasn't he? He was just huge.
So they beat us, but I remember that. And like my sister said, going to the Colonnade. But I remember another restaurant I used to go to. I don't know if you've talked about it or not. I believe it's way out on Florida Avenue called the Goody Goody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about it. We sure did.
Okay, well, I missed that because in Orlando we don't get your channel. But I want to take the chance to say hello to you because I've known you since you've been a little boy.
Yeah.
And I know all your brothers, so I'm glad I took the opportunity to say hi to you.
Everett, thanks so much for calling in. I've been wanting you to watch the show, and I hope it meets your expectation of what we've been talking about because we're having a blast doing this.
It's a lot of
I'm
fun.
glad I was here to do it, you guys. Keep up the good work.
No,
God bless you both.
Thank you,
Thank
Everett.
you,
Thanks
Everett.
so much.
Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow,
That was great. That was good. We had a
that's
brother and
phenomenal.
sister
Oh,
act.
that was
call us
perfect.
Tonight. That was perfect. Thank you, Everett, for making that special.
You know what?
phone call.
We have an email from Mike Beluha.
Mikey.
And this is
Let's see what Mikey says.
titled Fond Football Memories. Okay, and Mike writes, always loved walking into the stadium at Jesuit on a cool October evening and greeting all my friends on both sides of the fence. Tigers and Crusaders alike.
Yeah.
What a wonderful rivalry. Love to hear the band playing 25 or 6 to 4 and Shaft. And finally loved the dances in the gym afterwards, featuring live music by bands like Pieces. Oh, I remember Pieces.
Come on,
Phenomenal.
man. They were all over.
They were at our high school dances too.
That was their year, the decade. The 70s.
Phenomenal. Bands like Pieces and Rock and Roll Circus, Mike Beluha. Mike, thanks for the email. Phenomenal.
The TC dances were
Oh,
pretty
those-
cool.
oh, those
man.
were great. Well, I went
In
there for
their
2
new
years,
Gym, In
yeah.
their new gym, I remember going to those on Saturday nights, and of course after the games as well. I mean, that was just what we did.
Oh.
Hey, brother, we got a couple of minutes here while we don't have anybody calling in. But hey, why don't we talk at this time about? Let's put up that picture of that dashing, rip rock, good-looking man circa 1950 who was the quarterback of the Hillsborough High School Terriers, Jeffrey. The gentleman that's throwing the football, the
With the
big
red-
H, the red H, the
red
Hillsborough
H?
High School. We got 2 lines going right now.
Oh.
You put that picture up. We're going to take a call while you're looking for that. Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name, where you're calling from, and what school you went to.
Hello there. This is Tanya.
Oh,
Hey.
hi, Tanya.
Hey, Tanya.
Jefferson, class of 77.
77 Jefferson's in the house. Tell us your fondest memory of high school football, and be kind.
After the football games, we used to go to ABC Pizza.
ABC
Oh.
Pizza. We did go to
Oh,
ABC
that's-
Pizza too.
yeah.
That's right. That's right. I had Angie's, but ABC was another. Why was pizza so popular with us back in the day?
Shakey's Pizza, ABC
It was,
Pizza.
it was probably the cheapest thing we could get.
True.
I think you're right.
True.
And it stretched along. You get a big pizza and everybody splits it.
Yeah. But I have another memory of us. Obviously the football games are fantastic.
Sure.
But you're involved in this memory.
All right. Okay. Here we
It
go.
was-
Mom's listening now. Be careful.
I'm going to be very kind.
All right.
Kind, Sally.
All right.
Sorry. No, we didn't make it to a game.
Right.
I believe it was probably playing King,
Right.
and we broke down
How could I ever forget?
on I-4,
Yes.
275, right there at the, at that intersection.
Yes.
I don't remember whose car we were in.
I seem to think it might have been mine. I don't know why.
I think so.
It might have been the crab, if you recall, the crab. I'm using those air quotes because that was what we affectionately named the 1969 Toyota that I was driving back then.
Right. I have no idea, though, of, how did,
How did we get home? I think we had to call probably my parents. Probably had to come out and get us, bail us out. But I know it was kind of scary because we just lost power or something, and the car just conked out.
And I mean, it was right there on that
on the interstate.
curve, right at the curve.
Yep.
We're standing there, while cars are flying by us.
We couldn't do that today. Today, we'd end up in the newspaper the next morning.
Right.
Car slows down on the interstate, 2 lost.
I think somehow we made it to the after party.
Right, well, which probably was better than the game itself anyway.
Exactly. And Steve, you're I think Ben T. Davis.
Right.
Another makeout spot.
That was another one. That was another
We
one.
talked about that earlier. Did you hear my stage whisper when I told makeout spots? Yeah, we talked about that earlier, that Ben T. Davis. For him, it was Lowry Park. For some of us, it was Ben T. Davis.
I think the Jefferson crowd went to Ben T.
Right, and the Lake Toe crowd went somewhere up northwest. But hey, if you're out there and you got a favorite makeout spot you want to call us and tell us about, we'll take that call too.
Oh, thanks for sharing that, Tanya.
Tanya, thanks for calling in. You're one of our best viewers. We appreciate it.
Ties into to Friday night.
Yeah. Oh, well, hello.
Guys, enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you so
Tanya.
much. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Some of our best memories
lines open?
revolve around high school football.
Let's
don't they, though?
talk a little bit about that picture, Steve. I know you've been wanting to talk about that, and here's your moment.
Well, sir, for our viewers, this picture here is actually my father. His name is Steve Cannella as well. That's his Hillsborough letter on the right, and that's a probably 1951 picture. He was a star quarterback of Hillsborough High School, and this was senior year, 1950, 1951. And I have to say something that's really funny. Dan Perez, our chief researcher for the Tampa Native Show, he saw that picture a while back, and he said, "Steve, your father's a very handsome guy. In fact, you have his hands, But I said,
his hair too. Your dad had a tremendous head of hair.
Oh, but yeah, thanks, Dan. That was great. But anyway,
there's your hair. Look at that.
There you go. There we go.
Turn a little bit to the side, there, Steve. Turn a little bit. Match that the other way. The other way. Match that. Look at that. That's you. Yes, you're his son.
Wow. But anyway, it's really interesting in the photo. Basically, my father, he was an athlete, star quarterback, very strong physically and also in character too. But what he did, he drew an analogy, just to tell you a little bit about him as a person, but he drew an analogy between football and in life in general, and he ran his life that way. Basically, it's an analogy. There's commonalities in sports, in life too. But basically what he did, as in football, you have goals, and he pursued his goals with vigor and also perseverance and determination. In football, you have rules, and also he had rules too, and you didn't want to really disobey those rules, especially as a son.
Well, you get a flag,
but
you get a violation,
exactly.
you get a 15-yard penalty.
I was just gonna say, if you violate the rules, you got penalties. And I had the yellow flag thrown on me a few times. But in addition to that, you had boundaries too. So he stayed within the boundaries, and also if anyone crossed his boundaries, they would know about it too. They'd hear the whistle. But just a great man. He's no longer with us, but phenomenal picture and brings back a lot of memories of high school football. But thanks, Jeff.
That's a great story,
Yeah,
Steve. Thanks for sharing that. 1950-51. That was quite a time in our fair city's history. And we got a little.
Oh, good. Yeah. Let's bring back some memories.
Well, I tell
you what,
you can't hear that and not bob your head a little bit. Now, does anybody remember? Can anybody tell me what this is? We got camera 1 over there, Jeffrey. I just want to show this to our viewers. Can anybody tell me what this is? Yeah, this is world's finest chocolate. This is the world's finest chocolate. Now, listen. I know most of us remember purchasing this from either the band members or the football players or themselves or the pep squad girls or the cheerleaders when they needed to buy new uniforms or pom-poms. And back then when I was in junior high and high school, I remember these candy bars were 50 cents. And then a little while later, they graduated up to $1. Still fabulous. And whenever I bought one, I'd finish it halfway between from the bus and my house. But I want you all to see something. I purchased 2 from a kid in the neighborhood the other day. Came by, knocked on my door, and I'm a softie. So I said, "World's finest chocolate with almonds? I'll take it." Now look at this, ladies and gentlemen. This is not just 1, but 2 world's finest chocolate. And I want you to get a good look at that right there.
That's incredible.
Because this is almost Hershey bar size. What has happened to our world's finest chocolate bars? If you put 2 of them together, That looks like one of the old ones. And oh, by the way, yeah, it's still $1. So, like Richard said last week, man, what has happened to our dollar? They're shrinking. World's finest chocolate, but I'm going to eat it later. Don't worry. I'm going to finish that off.
Well, you made me hungry now, Mario.
Well, we didn't hear from any band members tonight. We still got 15, 20 minutes left. Maybe we'll hear from a band member or two.
Cheerleaders, band members?
Yeah, we'll hear from a band member or two.
And just a reminder, that number is on your screen. It's 254. Whoa.
Hey, 15-minute girl. Hey, you've been busting our balls all season. It's 15 minutes this, 15 minutes that. I bet you went to school here. What's your story?
Yo, it's my job to bust balls.
Hey!
Yo!
My story is I went to Robinson High School, and we had what was called the train game, where we went to a faraway place called Winter Haven, Florida, on the train. Each car had its own little separate party. There were chaperones, of course, but, you know, it was a fun time, and it's something, I don't think it lasted very long, but for a few years they did have train games to Winter Haven, and it was a blast. And you have 15 minutes left, guys.
Oh!
Oh, wow.
15-minute girl.
Thanks, 15-minute girl.
Well, that was kind of fun.
And Mario.
We had a picture back there. We wanted to show that picture. It was a Robinson High School yearbook picture circa 1967, 68. There it is. That's a pretty cool picture right there.
That's a great picture.
I believe that's Coach Applin there. They're carrying off the field. Must have been after a big, big win. And the gentleman you see on the right of your screen, that's none other than John Reeves, man, star quarterback of the 1967 Robinson Knights, who later went on to set records at the University of Florida and ultimately played in the NFL for the Eagles and I believe the Oilers.
And they're carrying him off the field at this point? Oh, there's the music again. Thanks, Jeff. That's great. That takes me right back.
But what I like about this picture in particular, while we're waiting for our next caller, is number 76. Now, Steve, I know you know a little bit about football. One can only assume that number 76 was an interior lineman. That fellow looks kind of small to be an interior lineman, and beyond that, he's got a 2-bar face mask. Now, I'm telling you right now, if I'm playing in the interior line, I'm going to have a full cage, a meat hook. I'm going to have something to protect my eyes, and that just goes to show you how the equipment has evolved over the years. And those helmets in particular, because this was about a decade before me, maybe about 7 years before me, those pictures in particular, I got to tell you, I mean, those helmets in particular, they were very, very difficult to put on. There was a webbing in the top that kind of protected the top of your head, but what really kept it in place was those ear pads and the fact you had to stretch that helmet over your ears and set really tight against your jaw. And that's kind of what kept it there. And then the chin strap kind of just kept it all together. It was a look thing. But today the helmets, they're popping off people's heads left and right like I don't even know what's going on.
Well, Mario, the sports technology has changed so much in the last few years. I mean, it's really, it's incredible. It's grown. By the way, we have an email from a...
Oh, we're getting good emails tonight.
Yeah. None other than our loyal viewer, Gary Ippolito.
Oh, the G-Man. Come on, Gary. What's G-Man say?
Okay, G-Man writes, Hey guys, a sidebar to Pete Alfieri. He played baseball for my dad and I, a great athlete. He pitched his team to championship. They had to travel to another district and some of the parents got lost and showed up late. Guess what little kid was plugged into right field and played until the rest of the team got there. And Mario is modest to say it, but his brother Chick was a star quarterback at Plant. The homecoming, Robinson High School homecoming Friday. Best high school memory, the Knights beating the Panthers and Robinsons. Yeah, first ever football game. Had to scroll down here a little bit. Gary, Champs, 1971.
Thanks, Gary.
Gary, that's great.
That was a great email.
Yeah, thanks for the
Gary.
email.
That's right. And I mean, there was hardly a bigger rivalry than between Plant and Robinson, although the Plant-Hillsboro thing with the tradition was pretty good as well. Got a few minutes left. We got a call coming in.
Okay, great.
Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name, where you're calling from, and what high school you went to.
Yes, my name is Jeannie Ackerman, and I went to Plant High School in 1969.
Jeannie,
hi,
let me
Jeannie.
tell you something. How are you, Jeannie? The Panthers are showing up tonight, aren't they?
I think the Panthers are doing great. I'm so proud of them, and especially that young Ely boy that's the quarterback. I know his whole family, and what a tradition they have in football.
My brother played with one of the Elys. I don't know. I think it was maybe Mark. Was Mark graduated in the 60s, 67, 68?
Yeah, well, we had Mark and Bruce.
Bruce was another. Bruce was older, I thought.
There's about 4 or 5 of those boys.
All good athletes, absolutely.
Actually, yes. So I'm just so proud to see these guys on the TV. This is really cool, and I follow them on Facebook. Facebook.
You can say that. We can't, but you can.
So, anyways, I think it's cool that these guys are doing this for the Tampa heritage here.
Thank you, Jeannie. We're going to continue to do it each and every week, and we hope that you'll watch and keep calling in. Steve, do you have a question?
Well, Jeannie, I'm just going to say it's cool that you're calling in and sharing your stories with us too. So we appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right, keep on keeping on.
Thank you, Jeannie. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Oh, what a great call.
There's a picture of a Jefferson High School cheerleader. Looks like a friend of mine. And she's called the show before. She called week 1. That's Carol Sanborn Midkiff. That's a great picture. You know, I asked for so many pictures, and I just got this one, and that's okay. It's a great picture, though. That's circa 1974.
Yeah.
Look at those pom-poms. Now the girls have little bitty pom-poms. Have you seen them?
Yeah,
they're little bitties.
They used
to, those were huge.
They used to hide behind them back then.
Yeah, those were huge. Those were huge.
They're gigantic.
What a great picture.
But that was a phenomenal picture.
Hey, I want to tell a quick story, too. Can I tell a quick story?
We got time. Go ahead.
Oh, we got
That's
a caller.
great.
Let's get the caller.
Yeah, let's do that.
Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name, where you're calling from, and what high school you went to.
A caller, you there?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, caller. Go ahead.
Cubanito.
Hey, that's got to be Tanya.
Okay.
Hi, Tanya.
Hey,
How are
Tanya.
you? Hey, wait. This is a two-Tanya call tonight. Two
That's
Tanya
right.
show.
We had 2 Tanyas.
I graduated from HB Plant.
Oh, another
Okay,
Panther. What's going on? Plant is blowing up tonight.
Plant wins tonight. They won tonight.
Yeah, they did.
And I was a member of the band.
Oh,
Oh,
great.
okay.
There's our
Okay.
first band caller,
There
second
she
band
is.
caller who played the clarinet.
That's right,
Go ahead.
that's right.
What instrument did you?
I played the twirling baton.
That's an
So
instrument?
you were a baton twirler?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you were a majorette or a
Yeah.
dancer, a drum major,
Yeah,
or a
yeah.
majorette? Okay.
Oh, no, I was a majorette. And would you believe they let us twirl fire with our batons?
I remember
Wow.
that. You know what else I remember? Can I throw this in there real quick? Halftime, when you guys would line up in the field, that stadium, they shut off the lights, and they would come out with, you'd put on the little light on your hat, and then you'd play and dance in formations in the dark. It was the coolest thing. I remember I'm this big now, so it was very cool. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You probably can't do the fire now, though.
No, the fire now, they call it bomberos on you. You got to get out of there. You can't put fire now. Fuego.
That's right. Okay, guys, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Tanya. Thank you for
That's
your call.
great.
That was great. Thank you, Tanya.
Thanks for calling.
Well, yeah, real quick. If you've got that team picture real quick, and you could flash that team picture of Jefferson High School that you have, Jeffrey, I'm going to tell a real quick anecdotal story as we no, the big picture with all the players that's going to sit above our head. That's a great picture too. Those are the
phenomenal.
Robinson Knights.
Oh, there it is.
That's the picture. It's a little bit tough to see, but I'll tell the viewers real quick what that is. That's the 1974-75, fall of 74, Jefferson Dragons. Okay, real quick side story. The number 17 guy there in the front row on the bottom on the left, that's me. All right. Far left with the big afro is John Twigg with the big afro. Look at how many big afros were there. This is 1974, y'all. But the big guy in the back, number 34, right-hand side, fourth from the right, is a fellow named Steve Stevens. Now, Steve Stevens was our star running back. We had 2, John Trigg as well. Steve was a fullback with outside speed, he was Rick Caceres 30 years later, 25 years later. Now, this guy was 6'3", about 215, fast and mean. And we're playing one day, practicing. I get sucked into playing what we call meat squad defense at the time. I'm playing safety. They run a play, inside handoff. Boom, a tremendous hole opens up, and Stevie Quay, we used to call him Stevie Quay after the boy from Blake High School. And Stevie busts through the hole. Bang, and he comes up. Now, I'm playing safety. I got to come up and fill that hole and make a play on Steve. And the whole time I'm saying to myself, please, Steve, just run around me. Just go the other way. You don't really have to hit me or go in. Steve decides, okay, I'm gonna finish this, and so he puts his head down, and I put my head down, and all I know is the noise that I heard inside of my helmet I had never heard before. It was like it was 2 trains colliding, a real big one and a real small one, and I got up, looking out of the ear hole of my helmet because he snapped my helmet around, and I looked behind me, and Stevie Quay was on the ground, and he got up and he threw the ball real hard behind him. He was just pissed because I knocked him down. What he failed to realize was it pretty much ended my career as a safety because I didn't want to have to do that again. That was one incredible football player. Went on to play at Oklahoma State and got drafted by the New York Jets. That's Steve Stevens, Jefferson High School.
Great story, Mario.
Well, yeah, great. You didn't have to go through with that.
Man.
But let me tell you, Steve, we need to at this time, we need to do a little drawing Because last week, if you remember, Mr. Richard Gunsmart gave us this book. Now, this book retails for $40. It's an incredible memento of the history, 100 years, of the Columbia Restaurant.
Fabulous
And we
book.
asked for emails, and we got exactly 3. So one of you 3 has got a good chance of walking away with the prize. Stevie, get ready to draw.
Okay, I'm ready.
The contestants are Olga Copin, 29, Tanya Russo, 23, and Carmen Nunez with number 70.
And Tanya was the one that just called in recently.
Yeah, Tanya, good luck. All right, buddy.
Okay, you ready?
Closest to the pin without going over.
Like the price is right.
What do you got?
Here we go.
Bolita drawing number is
21.
21. Tanya Russo is our winner. Nicely done, Miss Russo. Listen, the book weighs about 16 pounds, so I'm not going to mail it to you. We're just going to have to get together for a café con leche, and I'll hand it to you, okay? It's better. You can buy me the café con leche. How's that? But congratulations, Tanya. It's a wonderful book, and Richard actually signed it, so you have that to look forward to. Very, very good. Hey, Steve, let me ask you a question. You got
Mario?
any plans this weekend?
You know, Mario, I'm actually working this weekend.
You what?
I have to work this weekend.
You're working?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How about you?
Well, I do. As
What
a
are you
matter
doing?
of fact, there's a little get-together over at the American Legion Post 138 Hall that's kind of way down there in South Tampa. And I understand because I talked to Robert Cooper. Robert Cooper is the cook, and he's telling me, hey, tell all your friends, come on down, 138, Post 138, American Legion Hall, and there's going to be a little barbecue. There's going to be free live band. There's going to be free food. So after the Bucks game, 4 o'clock, head on down there. You going to be off work by 4?
You know, close to it.
All right.
But you're talking food and music?
Food and music.
Wow, yeah.
And you know how much you got to pay to get in?
How much?
Nothing. So
I'm there.
I'm going to be there, and I'm going to tell all my friends about that as well. All right, Stevie. As we wind down the show real quick, we got to say this too. Mr. and Mrs. Haynes, are you out there? I'm in camera 2. Mr. and Mrs. Haynes, I'm talking to camera 1. I'm talking to you, Mom and Dad Haynes. Thank you so much for letting your boy Jeffrey come out and play with us every week. Because we couldn't do this show without him, and we owe him a debt of gratitude. And I've been wanting to say hello to you guys for 7 weeks now. So thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Haynes. I know you're out there watching. Jeffrey does a great job.
He's doing a
for us.
phenomenal job.
And he's worth every penny we pay him, which is nothing. All right, real quick before we get off the air, we got about a minute to go. This is terribly exciting. You want to do it?
You do it.
Who's going to be here next week?
Oh, this is Mario.
1 minute
go
to
ahead.
go. 1 minute to
This
go.
is phenomenal.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
This is very exciting.
We thought we hit high water mark last week with Richard Gunsmart. Well, I tell you what, next week's show, I get goosebumps. You can't see him from there. We're going to have
I've got him.
in studio with us Mr. Buck Delatorre and Mr. Lou Piniella. They're going to be in studio, and we're going to be talking about playing Little League Baseball. No Major League Baseball talk. Little League Baseball in the city of Tampa when we were kids.
It's a must-see show, too.
We are incredibly, incredibly excited to have Lou Piniella in studio with us. Maybe we can get him to sign a ball, and we'll give that away next week. So send in your emails with your lucky number. Oh, I just
Is that exciting or what?
I can't wait. I
can't wait either. And that Wednesday we'll be here before we know it, too.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Stevie, another great show.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being there. We'll see you until next week.
Salute.
Salud and happy days. Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
Great show, Steve.
Oh, awesome.